Welcome to the Business Titans podcast, where we talk everything to do with growing and scaling your business. Here, we meet absolute titans of industry, leaders of their field, and we have a very special guest for you today. We have Janine Allis, who is the founder of Boost Juice, which now has over 500 stores in 13 countries, and she is a part owner of Retail Zoo, which has over 650 stores under its banner. Janine is the best-selling author of The Accidental Entrepreneur. She is one of the sharks on Australian TV series Shark Tank, co-host of the Superwomen We Ain't podcast, and undoubtedly one of Australia's most respected business icons. How are you today, Janine?
Good. How are you? An icon. Am I young? Am I too old to be an icon?
No, not at all. You can be an icon at any age.
Oh, good. Okay, good. Okay. That's right.
Yeah, I just love it. Now, people have been really excited about my interview with you today because you're a well-known and respected person in this industry, and I want to talk about women in leadership a little bit. Now, I know that you were raised by a 50s mum, and in that same era, there was an article in the newspaper about a woman's place in the world, right? Now we have an opportunity to redefine. It's 2021. We can rewrite the narrative. Janine, tell me, what is a woman's place in society or in a marriage or in the world? Help us define that.
Look, I don't know how you define it. I think that I don't really have ever seen a woman and man different anyway. I know obviously there's differences, right, of course, but as in better or worse. You know, I think that at the end of the day, women have incredible strengths, men have incredible strengths, but it gets down to the individual person. Because if you go, I always see there's a scale of women from being super, super girly feminine to actually being quite macho. And then there's a scale of men to going super, super macho to super, super feminine. So then there's this big merge of just people just being people. So I think that if we stop thinking people as male and female, black and white, gay and straight, if we stop just thinking them as people with their own challenges and desires and dreams and just being good people, I think that's probably the way to go. And yeah, you know, obviously my grandmother, you know, to your point, you know, there was an article that said, you know, women's places in their home and we're there to support, and, you know, it's all about the man. And so we've come a long way from that. But I know the women that are being raised now, and I know my daughter, don't think that way. They just go, you know, of course we can do anything we want. Of course we can be president or prime minister of a country, and, you know, let's just try and stop us, which is great. And it's a great path that we've taken. And, you know, I think that it's taken a long time. Actually, it probably hasn't taken that long. It's probably taken 2 generations to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's taken a while, and I love seeing where we're headed with that. And I think that females in leadership are so necessary, because otherwise you get this macho, manly type of leadership, egocentric leadership, slave/servant style of leadership sometimes that men can have. And I think that's unhealthy in the workplace.
Yeah, you know, the 80s was something that was quite extraordinary. It was that pretty much what you described. It was, men do this and women sort of run around, and it's okay to give you a pinch on the ass, or, you know, talk about the fact that your boobs look great in today, right? Yeah, and you know, right now, you know, people look back at that and go, oh my God, that's outrageous. But you've got to remember that you can't judge today's values on the 80s or the 60s or the 70s or the 20s, because you've got to remember there was something on the TV called The Box, right, which was, you know, every single night there was boobs hanging out everywhere. Benny Hill, you know, said the motorboat was fun, you know, put your face in a woman's breast and go brrr, apparently, right? You know, so in actual fact, every single day that people watch TV or the media actually indicated that was okay. It's okay for a guy to pinch on the bum or whistle you. It's actually, you know, why do you complain about it? It's a compliment, right?
Yeah.
But today so you can't look back and go, these people are bad people, because it was the era. But it isn't acceptable today, and it's right that it's not acceptable, you know. And, you know, in some respects, the warrior that I've become is because of all the things that have happened to me. And, you know, a lot of that was just part of it. But it's sort of like but thank goodness for everything that's happened to my life, because it's made me the person I am today.
Yeah, and I think as well with the evolution of consciousness or the elevation of the amount of information that's available to us, we can actually make new choices now. People have voices, and you mentioned, Janine, you said the warrior that you are today. This is why I love having people like yourself on this show, Janine, where we can show people clearly that there is a path to take, that they can go from where they are today to becoming that self-determined warrior or that self-actualization or unleashing their own potential. Now, you're someone that's still walking into your own potential. What advice would you have to someone that really wants to become that warrior, but they can't see the forest through the trees? Maybe they're a bit stuck in their business. Maybe business is a bit tough for them at the moment. What advice would you give those people?
I think don't want it. Don't want things. Don't want to be rich, want to be a warrior, want to be skinny, want to be fat, want to be brown, green, blue. Don't want things. Become them, right? The power of I am is incredible. I am a warrior. I'm a person that doesn't put up with that treats people how I'd like to be treated, or also equally I'm someone who doesn't allow people to treat me in a bad way, right? And equally I treat people I, right? I am. So I think but if you just do the wanting, then the universe will give it to you. They'll give you that feeling of wanting, right? That's all you'll get, the feeling of wanting. So stop being a want and be the person you want to be. Now, I caught up with a guy called Paul Taylor. I think he's called Mind Body something. Sorry. And Google it. It'll come up. Anyway, he worked with me going on Survivor to get his ex army, and he had this great analogy which really worked well for me, which was you have, and we all have all these voices in our head, right? Their voices say, you can't do that, or go eat that chocolate bar, it doesn't matter, or another few glasses of wine, I deserve it, and then you've got the other person on the side, the other voice that says, we're going for a 5K run today, and we're not putting up with that person in my life anymore, and I'm going to make the change that I want in my life, right? You've got that warrior person, and he went as far as saying, name them, right? So I've got two. I got one called Debbie Downer, right? Who she's the one that tells me that you won't, it's the water's too cold, don't get in. Or she's the one that said any minute now, Janine, people will work out that you actually don't know is what they think you know. She's also the person that will tell me all the things that I'm not very good at. But the other one is Agora, right? She's my warrior, right? She will go, we're going on Survivor and we're running up we're going to do that challenge, I'm going to win it, right? So she's the one that says, you can go on the stage for 5,000 people and you will kill it, right? She is my warrior person. And we all have those people or those voices or those archetypes in our brain. It's just, you can actually choose to listen to them. And I mean, many times I would consciously go, I've got to do this. Hey, Agora, I need to help here, right? I need to channel Agora, right? And I put Debbie Downer in a box. So I think that going back to a very long way of answering your question, I think you can choose the life you want. You've just got to do it and not just waffle about it.
Yeah, and I love the sentiment of stop wanting so much. I've definitely come to that place in my life as well, where you can almost hang yourself on a cross with how much we want as human beings. And sometimes we got to remember that we're not human doings, we're human beings, and we just need to be happy with what we've got. I love that you've referenced Debbie Downer and was it Agora?
Agora. I don't know why she's called Agora. She just is.
Interesting name. Beyonce has Sasha Fierce. You have Agora. Now that's all about resourcefulness and resiliency and harnessing the resources within. Can you tell us about a time where you've really had to really talk to Agora and get her resourcefulness? Can you take us through that?
Look, I think probably the most recent example is Survivor, when I did that, and it is quite. You find that the body gives up so much quicker than the mind. The mind is incredibly powerful, and so there's times when you have to basically stand on a pole for hours, or you have to hold your abs, or you have to do full concentration on things. And many times I sort of tapped into her to go, hey, need your help on this one, and so that was sort of, and then really it did show you, and it showed me that God, the mind is incredibly powerful, and really the only thing that stops us is ourselves. In actual fact, going back to the word want, I find it a really weak word, because it's sort of it's not an empowering word. It's sort of like I want COVID to end. I want, like, it's so like, it's such a pissy word, right? It doesn't actually achieve anything, other than people going, So I think that, I also hate the word try, I'll try and do that. Like, just do it. Like, don't try, do.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Now, one of the things that I hear so much in high performance circles is the notion of your network is your net worth. Not that they've deployed scientists to test whether this is accurate or not. Now, I know you spent about 2 years on David Bowie's boat with different celebrities and business owners. And when you started Boost Juice, you would talk to the CEOs of Muffin Break and the people that were already successful in your field. Let's settle the score today, Janine. Does your network equal your net worth? Would you advise that people want to get to the next level to find more high performance people?
Look, it does. It does. We don't have, I've just got my dog barking in the background. Sorry about that.
Right.
Look, it does, because you don't have all the answers, right? So, but I've never seen it as I don't believe that your network is your net worth, because I think in actual fact, it's your own hard work and your determination that will actually get you successful. Yeah. Part of that, and one of your tools that you use, is other people's lessons and other people's information that you can get to. So, but equally, I've got as much information out of books, out of biographies, out of podcasts, out of, but really the generosity of many people in my journey to sit down with me and say, this is what I found has worked, has been, quite extraordinary. So it's an element to it. I wouldn't say it is the number one. I would say there's an element to, ensuring that you only surround yourself with great people. I think on that theory, if you go, your network is your net worth, I'd say more your partner is your net worth, because in actual fact, the amount of people I've come across and had not had a supportive partner and hasn't really achieved their full dreams. And equally, I lucked out and got a great partner who, we're a real team, and we can really achieve great things, and we really do bounce off each other, incredibly well. So, and equally, if you get the wrong one, well, pretty much you lose half your net worth anyway. So.
Don't I know it? and that is powerful advice, especially around your partner, because you should uplift and encourage and support, and it's a team unit. And so many marriages break down because it becomes me versus you sometimes, and that's where arguments stimulate, and it's not a good thing.
No, but equally, sometimes people meet their partner when they're 18 to 25, and the person you are at 25 is a very different person you are at 35 and 45. So you nearly have to be lucky to grow in the same direction more than smart. So it really is, that choice that you make in your life partner is the biggest, most important choice you can make.
Yeah, I agree with you for sure. Now, I saw an interview about 2 years ago where you said you were still deciding who you were going to be when you grew up. And now that COVID has forced a lot more introspection, I would say, have you quite figured it out, Janine?
No, I think that I'll be 80 still working it out. I think that, you've always got to have that curious mind to go, what will I like? There's some things, I'm doing some really, really interesting things. I've just joined the board of Sea Shepherd, which, hopefully I can put some commercial sort of bias into that to try and help save the ocean, which is so incredibly important.
Wow.
I'm an ambassador for the UN for refugees, which is Australia for UNHCR. Okay. And, really, find those juicy. Many business I'm doing still, and on the boards of some places. So, I'm still, but have I found my another boost type journey? Not yet.
Do you think you will, or do you think you just continue pushing into the social impact element of what you're doing?
I think that I'm I'm a very good person at busy. So I like to have a lot of different things, you know. Some might call it OCD or ADD, but I like to have a lot of things on going at the same time. I like my mind sort of, you know, zooming around. But, you know, the obsessive compulsiveness of doing Boost, particularly when I was 30 to 40s, you know, we've got a great team now, a great executive team, and I feel like I'm the sort of you know, that good old wise person that goes, right, we've done that before and you can do here. But it's so good. It's like children, you know, any business like children, you need to breed them and grow them up and raise them to be independent. And if you've done that, it's the people who actually feel like they can't leave their business because it will all fall apart. Well, you haven't created a very effective business, because you need to create businesses that can stand on their own 2 feet. Equally, same as children, and equally the parents that don't let their children sort of, you know, fall and stand up again. You know, it's the same as businesses, and you've got to really make sure that you're encouraging the next generation up to really push you out of that seat.
I'm having a bit of a transformative moment as you speak, because I you know, you hear all the time that a business is like a baby, but you're the only person that I've heard put it in the context of, hey, like a child, you've got to teach them to be self-sufficient and stand on their own 2 feet. What are some of the what's some of the advice you can give to people that are going through that maturity journey of trying to help their businesses stand on their own 2 feet? What are the things to you that are super critical to get right in the foundations?
Oh, look, on this matter particularly, it's hiring. You know, the amount of people I see that's got really good executives, and there's a massive skills gap for the next person. I mean, you should be having every single executive, every single great leader should be really working hard on their successor, and really developing and working them and picking the right person first, and then developing them, which enables them to have more opportunities in the business. So, or enables them to have more free time, or enables them to go on holidays or whatever they want to do. So it's really critical that you actually are constantly succession planning and not having this big skills gap between that executive and the next person in line, because it's just going to end in tears for the business.
That's powerful. Succession planning on a proactive basis for the people that you're leading. I think that's super powerful. Is there anything else that you think is fundamental to helping them stand on their own 2 feet, or helping the business stand on its own 2 feet?
Yeah, it's actually being embracing the so-called boring stuff. You know, it's embracing the systems, the processes, the structure. You know, and I see all of those things as really solid concrete foundation. I mean, you look at a house, right? The most boring thing on a house is a concrete slab, right? Who cares? It's a concrete slab. You put something on it, you never see it. But if you have cracks in that concrete slab, it doesn't matter how pretty or what you've done on top of it, it will come crashing down. Mm. So the concrete slab in business is the systems, the processes, the accounts. It's ensuring that your compliance is right, that you're following the appropriate laws for your industry. You know, it is really critical that concrete slab in your business is flawless.
Yeah, I love that. And it is the stuff that people overlook, because it's the boring stuff. It's the hard stuff. And I see it all the time in my field of work as well, that you go into a business and they haven't followed any of the fundamentals. And it's almost like going back to square one and saying, hey, we've got to fix all the fundamentals up. So you've talked leadership, you've talked fundamentals. And I also note that you've written this wonderful book, The Accidental Entrepreneur. And to you, I've heard in some interviews that you say the entrepreneur is the person that loves the ideas, and they go work on the logo for 5 hours and the stuff that actually, you know, doesn't move the needle. Through the process of writing that book, has it changed your perspective on what a great entrepreneur is, or what they should be doing?
No, the book was more of a cathartic sort of download of sort of my journey and what I've done and what I've learned. Is pretty much what the book was. And then the most recent one, which is what you're talking about, is has sort of put in some survivor information, which I found was really interesting for me. Hopefully it was interesting to the readers, who knows. So I don't think that there's anything that necessarily has changed in how I think or how I approach things from the book. So no, I think that, Survivor was I know I keep going back to that, but throw yourself in the desert or on an island for 40 days. It really does give you time to reflect on what you are and who you are and what you want to do. So it's and I think that if one thing I did learn from that is that people should do that. People should not necessarily do Survivor. Wouldn't recommend it for everyone, but find somewhere and isolate yourself and have some time on your own, or definitely be apart from your partner. No matter how much you love him or love her or whoever or they these days. I think it's important to make sure you have time to actually, one, miss them, but two, actually appreciate life. I think one of the greatest things that you can be is grateful. And I think taking things away from you, and including COVID, I mean, we're living in a world where things are being taken away from us. Our ability to travel, our ability to work, our ability to see our friends and family, and just the fundamental things that we took for granted. So in actual fact, anything negative, don't see it as negative. Find out what we can take out of it. And for me, gratefulness is something that is really important to take out of adversity, which, COVID is adversity. It is our World War III. We have got it. We're at war. It's just something we can't see.
Yeah. Was the Survivor experience transformative for you?
It was like I was still the same person going in and going out. You can tell I don't brush my hair anymore. I think doing Survivor became very primal. So I liked the person I was. So because I think that you are who you are. I mean, that is so transparent. So I liked that I was calm. I was like I was in control. I liked the fact that my mind was strong, that it didn't really bother me not eating. It didn't bother me the physical. So I was really happy with the person I was, because you don't actually know who you are. Yeah. I mean, I've been in my journey, I've been in all sorts of situations where have been life-threatening and all sorts, and you don't actually know how people react to scary situations. People who you think would have it absolutely nailed and would have it under control don't. And that quiet little achiever, that little mouse in the corner, just gets on with it and is stoic and just does it. So it's, I think it was, I think that it taught me that I was capable of more things that I thought I was capable of. Like even when I go surfing now, and I'm a bit of a wuss when I surf, I go, come on, Janine, freaking hell, you did Survivor. It's not that hard to go out and get that wave. So yeah, I sort of reflect on that and go, remember, it's not that hard.
Yeah. What was your deepest insight through that process? Or because I imagine there'd be some low points on that journey where you're really forced to introspect. What are some of the key insights you got from yourself?
Yeah, I don't often have low points. I mean, I probably have low points when I'm sort of not busy or frantic. So I tend to keep myself busy and frantic. I think just a reflection of just being able to just get off phones and get off technology and sit around a fire and actually truly get to know someone, and and play a game and take it as fun and take it as challenging and take it as so take it as what it was. So, I find TV really fun. I mean, I'm doing the Celebrity Apprentice is coming up again, and looking forward to doing that again because it's just fun. I get to play out, I get to dress up and pretend I'm someone. And I think that's a point. You can't take things that aren't serious.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what people tend to do, is they tend to get themselves absolutely worked up because the reality is, Oscar, is that we actually have not got a hard life. No matter how bad it gets, you will always have a roof. You can always have government assistance. Like there is, so the mental health component that we've got right now, I think is a reflection of the fact that we haven't had it hard and we have very little resilience. You look at our grandparents or our great-grandparents, and they were in the war, and they stepped over dead bodies. They, the women at home, just got letters to say that their son or father's not coming home, and that was sort of common. Like the resilience, and that's obviously an extreme, but I think that we're now got this massive FOMO because of social media of I'm not there, I'm not here, and I think that we've just lost this resilience that is causing us to be quite, in some respects, worry about pathetic things that aren't actually significant, but it's not belittling the how you feel, because you still feel it, but we've lost perspective.
Yeah. I love there's a guy by the name of Terence McKenna. I'm not sure if you've come across him, but he talks about the fact that our ancestors had to run away from saber-toothed tigers, and we've overcome plagues and wars and all this thing. And we sit here in this generation. I mean, he's passed away now, but even he was saying this in his time. We sit here as a generation, and we're a little bit soft. And I look at that and I go, yeah, we are so lucky. I mean, my parents fled here from El Salvador when we were two, escaping a civil war. You know, we had to escape death to come here, really. And so I look at life with gratitude, which is on your point as well. It's so important to have that, to be of healthy mind, because you talk a lot about depression in a lot of your interviews, Janine, and about people building that resiliency. Is gratitude really, is it that simple that for someone that's down in the dumps sometimes, can they just apply more gratitude to get their lives to the next level?
Gratitude is the silver bullet. It really is, because I think, let's go back to your parents, right? I don't know them and never read anything about them, but I could imagine that they would have an enormous amount of gratitude.
Oh, yeah.
Because they've actually experienced, like people, they would look at someone who complains about, I don't know, the fact that they didn't get a pay rise that week, and they just go, really? That's your problem? Right? And you actually find people like your parents a lot more settled in life, because they know what bad looks like, right? People only have the worst thing that can happen in their lives. They've gone, we've ticked that box, guys. And you don't just leave your country with children under your arm and go to another country if everything's nice, fine and dandy, So, but if you wake up every day and go, even if you're feeling shit, and go, what am I grateful for, right? Gee, I'm grateful for my parents' love. I'm grateful for the fact I live in Australia and not in Afghanistan. I'm grateful for the fact right now I'm looking at water. I'm grateful for the fact I really dig my husband, and you can equally sit there and go, what pisses me off and what makes me miserable? And you can sit down and list them off too. But you got to think of, you can actually change how you think, and people don't think you can. And look, that's not taking away from when there's a hormone imbalance or an imbalance in your business, in your mind, where you are genuinely in this dark cloud, there's nothing you can get out of, right? And yes, you can jump in the water and you can do things to feel good, but if there's an imbalance, that's different. Yeah. But if your body is in balance, you can, with good exercise, good thinking and good food, fix most things.
Yeah. Absolutely. Neuroplasticity, which I've heard you reference as well a number of times. What, Janine, is some of the best advice you've been given? I mean, when you've launched several empires, you've been through multiple hardships, obviously, through that process, classic hero's journey. What's some of the best advice you've been given by some of your mentors or other people in high performance positions?
Look, nothing jumps out. I think if you want to go core business, that profit culture and making people accountable for that profit. So, if you've got a business that has multiple people in it, try and make them physically accountable for their area, and actually reward them for that. So I think that what gets rewarded gets done, what gets talked about and focus gets done. So I think that's really important. Advice, I think, treat people how you like to be treated, or people will treat you how you allow them to treat you, I think is probably the biggest one. And I think that I even had to take that into parenting, because I don't know if people are listening out here and have had teenage kids, and sometimes how they talk to you, you feel like you go, what? Even under that circumstances, people will treat you how you allow them to treat you. And so don't allow people, don't put up with it. Sort of call it out, like, have a level of who you think you are, what your level of acceptance is. So really, as in advice I've been told, I might come back to you on that one.
Yeah, okay. I love the idea of having a profit culture. I love the idea of holding people accountable for that profit. What are ways that, or what are things that people can implement in order to actually attain that and hold people accountable for that profit?
I think the key thing is breaking your profit and loss down into departments. So even if you've got an accounting department, it can be, and that's an expense, of course, because unfortunately they don't drive income. If you've got an accounting department, this is your budget. If you get 10% under your budget, you get a bonus, or you get an extra annual leave, or you get something, right? And then areas where it's sales driven is really simple, right? So it's okay, you get this sale, or you get this outcome, or you get this KPI, then you get rewarded by it. But if you have a P&L that's just one big massive P&L, then it's not really, they're not accountable. They can go out and spend extra wine at dinner because they're not accountable. But if everyone actually has their own budget that they are actually responsible for, you'll be surprised how much more money drops to the bottom line. There is so much money in businesses that just get flitted away on, people not caring about when they fly, right? Or they take a driver instead of an Uber, or they print one-sided on a printer instead of double-sided and only using black and white, not color. Like it's, once they're actually accountable, you will find that all of that money goes straight to the bottom line, and nothing necessarily has to change other than that.
I love that. That's really powerful advice, Janine. Thank you for that. So for business owners that have a fairly healthy business, they're now starting to generate profit, and they think to themselves, you know what, I'm going to get some outside capital for this. What are the things you look for as one of Australia's sharks, let's say, or investors or prominent figures? Well, what are the things you really look for, Janine, in a business to determine whether you think they're going to make money or not?
I think the first thing that I determine is, does the customer want it? Have they created a product and their friends and family have said it's amazing, right? If that's the case, then and really, even if they do research, I look for, has the consumer opened up their wallet and spent money on this product, right? First and foremost, has that happened? So then you go, okay, tick, right? The consumer wants it. Then you look at the margins, right? So there's no point having a product that people want and you're making absolutely no money out of it. So you look at the margins. And if you go, yep, that works, tick, tick, then the final thing is the person, because the reality is businesses isn't linear, right? It's not something that you start and it just goes well and it goes good. It goes up and it goes down, right? You throw things like COVID, you throw things like product faults, you throw all these things in it, which actually have massive effect on your business and your profitability. So I look for the resilience. I look for that person who can go beyond base camp and go all the way to the top of Everest. I look at the person who, when things go really bad, they roll up their sleeves and go harder at it. So that's who I'm looking for. I'm looking for that person who is accountable, solution-based, and is responsible for everything they do. I don't like verbs. And if you've done any research, you know that I'm a big one on verb and saws. Yeah. And a verb is someone who's a victim, they need to be rescued. They're entitled and they blame the world for their woes. So it is something that I look for in people.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love the way you put forward the verbs and saws. I was listening to that, and I absolutely love that. Now sometimes you spend a short amount of time with people. So how can you actually tell at a quick glance whether someone's got that grit, whether they've got that gratitude, whether they've got that extreme ownership, accountability, responsibility? How do you know?
Look, you never 100% know, to be honest. I find people from the country, like if someone on their resume comes from Warrnambool or Shepparton or Albury or something, I will always interview them, because I find that people that are sort of part of the earth tend to know how tough it can be. A bit like our conversation with your parents, they know what tough is. They've had droughts, they've had freaking rats and mice and locusts and, you name it, they've had it and they've still brushed themselves up and got on with it. So I find the character of people from regional or rural or country seems to be stronger. That's not everything, of course. I've had amazing employees who've been from the smack in the middle of the city, but I must admit some of my best have been from there and overseas in countries that aren't as lucky as us. I find that people tend to have more appreciation and more solutions based, because I think they've had to in the past. And the end of the day is asking questions to try and prod to see if they answer in a verb capacity. So like, for example, what happened in your last job? Oh, well, I was never promoted and I was there 10 years. I was, we had this major thing happened and everyone else was to blame, but I got the blame in the end. Like it's that you sort of listen for those sort of things to go, oh, red flag, run away.
Yeah, exactly. I totally understand what you're saying, and I apply a very specific filter to my life to make sure that I'm spending time around saws and not verbs, because I think that's a really powerful way to put it. So you've built such a powerful brand in Boost. I mean, there's nothing else like it. You've got juice bars that are kind of like, yeah, it makes sense. They're healthy. Maybe they're a bit brown, and everything else is in that space to me is very vanilla, I guess. But you've built this really beautiful brand. I mean, you look at the brand and you go, this is a brand, right? How is branding important? How do you go through that ideation process of creating a brand? Because as we all know, brands are created, not born. Help us understand branding a little bit more, Janine.
Brand is more brand is not one thing. Brand is a multiple things. If you think about your favorite brands, and that could be Apple, right? It could be Virgin. Once in the day that they existed and flew. So let's go back to Apple, right? So you go, first and foremost, you go, oh wow, it's created by a real innovator, right? Steve Jobs, wow, or Tesla. Here's another example with Elon Musk. You look at the fact that it's a pretty product, like it's a really pretty product, and you walk into the stores and they're cool stores and the staff are really well trained, and if something goes wrong they fix it really quickly, and if you go online it's like it's not one thing, it's a number of things. Equally with Elon Musk, right? So he sells a dream of going to Mars. The cars themselves are really sexy. They fart. Whether there's a button that farts, they dance if you want them to. It helps you get inspired of the dream. So I think Boost equally is that, you walk into the store and it's colourful and bright, it smells good, you're greeted with a smile, you've been handed in a cool cup and it tastes great, and the last thing you get is a smile and a wave and they say have a great day. So that's what a brand is. A brand is how it makes you feel, not what it is.
Yeah, I love that. And it's so powerful because it does emanate everything that happens in the business. It's the culture, it's the end product, it's how you deal with customers. What about vision? What role does vision play in business, Janine?
Well, vision is really something you need to communicate. So vision is, my vision is, simple, right? Vision of Boost Juice Bars is to love life. Right, that's the vision. Right, it's all about getting more fruit and vegetable in your diet and not taking life too serious. It's about love. It's having fun in store with the customers. It's about loving life. Let's just love life. So that's a vision. Simple, right? You don't need a consultant and charge $120,000. The only visions that actually work though, the ones that are brought to life. So my husband has a business called Yochi, and their vision is share the chi. Right, so that's what it is. It's about getting people. It's about embracing everyone. It's about being really generous to the customers. It's about taking friends in there and having a delightful experience. So different people have different visions, but the only ones that work are the ones that you bring to life. And so for me, the ones that go and get a consultant for 120 grand and they spend 6 weeks with the executives and they do a vision and then it goes in the drawer, and then you ask 6 months later, what's the vision of the company? People go, I don't know what it is. Then you've just wasted your money. So it's actually very difficult to have a vision and bring it to life, because the leaders have to love it and live it and breathe it.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you said that about vision, about the consultants coming in and then you end up leaving the thing in the drawer, same can happen with strategy. I've seen it so many times where consultants come in, they do this big, market analysis and they, develop a strategy. But your philosophy is, hey, you can do strategy in 3.5 minutes. So if I'm going to spend 3.5 minutes on strategy, Janine, what would I be doing?
Well, first and foremost, what does the end look like? So you always start with the end in mind and work back from there. So the strategy, sometimes it can be as simple. I mean, Hawthorne's strategy was, I think it was, now I could get it wrong, it was 3, 3, 3, 3, 60, right? That was their strategy, 3-3-60. It was simple. 60,000 members, 3 premierships in 3 years, done, right? Doesn't need 20 pages. That's what it is. Everyone knows it. Everyone works towards it. That's what the strategy is, right? And I think the best strategies are the ones that do not exceed a page. So strategy on a page is critical, right? You don't, because it really does. And there's some great templates out there that you can use, but strategy should never go beyond a page, because really, and if you've got a strategy on the page on your wall, then it reminds you that everything you do has to actually be in line with that strategy. And the strategy is also what the consumers think, how you're going to get there, what the sums are, you know. So it's really critical that a strategy is simple, quotable, and easily accessible.
Yeah, wonderful. I love that, Janine. Well, look, I want to be respectful of your time. I'll ask you a final question. What's your message for entrepreneurs or business owners out there? What would you want them to know if you could give them a piece of advice?
Look, I think the enjoy the journey as much as the results, you know, because the reality is, as we know right now with COVID, is that, you know, there's some tough times sometimes. And so when things go well, stop and celebrate it. You know, probably that was the one thing I did really badly, because I was so on this treadmill of just achieving the next goal and the next dream and the next store and the next country, that I never actually really stopped and enjoyed it. So enjoy the journey, because it can be actually really challenging. The other thing I would say is make sure you get away from your business. You know, I think people can lose the love and passion for their business because they get such caught up in the grind, and you need to go away, and, you know, whether it's a health retreat or something, but build your business up in a situation that you can actually travel and go away, because it's important to have space to re-love it, rethink it, be re-inspired.
I love that. Well, thank you very much for your time, Janine. For the listeners, we've talked about so much. Stop wanting. We've talked about strategy. We've talked about mindfulness. We've talked about really everything. So there's got to be, and you've got to be implementing the stuff that you hear out there. Janine, thank you very much for your time. You've been very gracious with it. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. See you later. Take care.